Hey, how's it going? Back for the third installment on Genesis today. I hope that everyone's having a good day so far. Happy Sunday. I'm gonna be posting these every Sunday, so if you want to keep in touch, they should be on before 5. Um, they should. I hope. Yeah, hopefully before 5 on Sundays. It's just hard because my upload speed at my house is pretty bad, but I'll work around that. But yes, I hope that everyone continues to have a good day, and let's get into it. Last time we left on 16 on Genesis, which left right off with whose name was Hagar. Verse 2, 16. Okay. So Sarai and Abraham, see now the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. Please go in to my maid. Perhaps I shall obtain children by her. And Abraham heeded the voice of Sarai. Then Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave her to her husband Abraham to his wife after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. So he went to Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress became despised in her eyes. Then Sarai said to Abraham, my wrong be upon you. I gave my maid into your embrace, and when she saw that she had conceived, I became despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between you and me. So Abraham said to Sarai, indeed, your maid is in your hands. Do to her as you please. And when Sarai dealt harshly with her, she fled from her presence. Now the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of a water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, where have you come from, and where are you going? She said, I am fleeing from the presence of my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hand. Then the angel of the Lord said to her, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly, so that they shall not be counted for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, behold, you are with child, and you shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your affliction. He shall be a wild man. His hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he dwelt in the presence of all of his brethren. Then she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her, are you the God who sees? And she said, have I also seen him who sees me? Therefore the well was called Beer Lorai Roy. Observe, it is to be between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abraham a son, and Abraham named his son whom Hagar bore Ishmael. Abraham was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abraham. When Abraham was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said to him, I am Almighty God, walk before me and be blameless. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. Then Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. No longer shall your name be called Abraham, but you shall be Abram, you shall be called Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come from you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you, and your descendants after you, and their generations for everlasting covenant, to be God to you and your descendants after you. Also I give to you and your descendants after you the land in which you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said to Abraham, as for you, you shall keep my covenant, and you and your descendants after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant with you All right, this is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your descendants after you. Every male child among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of all your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. He who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male child in your generations. He who is born in your house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not your descendant. Sorry. He who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money must be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male child who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, and the person shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Then God said to Abraham, as for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her and also give you a son by her. Then I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. King of people shall be from her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child? And Abraham said to God, oh, that Ishmael might live on before you. Then God said, no, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son, and you will call his name Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for everlasting covenant with his descendants after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and he will multiply exceedingly. He shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you at the set time next year. Then he finished talking with him, and God went up to Abraham. So Abraham took Ishmael, his son, all who were born in his house, and all who were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin that very same day, as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, and Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the very same day, Abraham was circumcised, and his son Ishmael. And all the men in his house born in the house or bought with money from a foreigner were circumcised with them. The son of promise, 18. Then the Lord appeared to him by terebinth trees of Mamre, as he was sitting in the tent door in a heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him, and he saw them, and he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, my Lord, if I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on your servant. Please let your water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring a morsel of bread, that you may refresh your hearts, after you may pass by Inamush, as you have come to your servant. They said, do as you have said. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, quickly, make your 3 measures of fine meal, knead it and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd, and took a tender and good calf, and gave it to the young man, and he hastened to prepare it. So he took butter and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them, and he stood by them under the trees as they ate. And they said to him, where is Sarah your wife? So he said, here in the tent. He said, I will certainly return you accordingly to the time of life. And behold, Sarah your wife shall have a son. Sarah was listening in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah had past the age of childbearing. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I surely bear a child since I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return to you, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. And then the men rose from there and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham? What am I doing? Since Abraham shall surely become great and a mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord and do the righteous and justice, what the Lord may bring to Abraham, what he has spoken to him. And the Lord said, Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether accordingly to outcry against it that has come to me, and if not, I will know. Then the men turned away from there and went towards Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came near, and he said, Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Would you destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to do such as a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so the righteous should be as wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all earth do right? So the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. Then Abraham answered and said, Indeed, now I who am but dust and ashes have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose there were 5 less than the 50 righteous, would you destroy all the city for lack of 5? So he said, If I find there are 45, I will not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again, Suppose there should be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. Then he said, Let not the Lord be angry, I will speak. Suppose 30 should be found there. So he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Then he said, Indeed now, I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. Then he said, Do not the Lord be angry. I will speak at once more. Suppose 10 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So the Lord went his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. Now the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground, and he said, Hear now, my lords, please turn in to your servant's house, and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way. And they said, No, but we will spend the night in the open square. And he insisted strongly, so that they turned in to him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, we may know them carnally. So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See now, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let them bring out to you, and you may do to them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof." And they said, "Stand back." And they said, "This one came in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now he will deal worse with you than them." So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, and they became weary trying to find the door. Then the men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here, son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city? Take them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord. The Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-laws, who married his daughters, and said, "Get up and get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city." But to his son-in-law he seemed to be joking. When the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in punishment of the city." And while he lingered, the men took hold of his wife. The men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and the Lord being merciful to him, they brought him out of the city and set him out of the city. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, and he said, "Escape for your life, do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape the mountains, lest you be destroyed." Then Lot said to them, "Please know, my lords, indeed now your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have increased your mercy, which you have been shown me by saving my life. I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, the city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there, and my soul shall live." And he said to him, "See, I have favored you concerning this thing also, in that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there." And therefore the name of the city was Zor. Then the sun had risen up upon the earth when Lot entered Zor. Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. She turned back and looked at the city. And then she became a pillar of salt. Abraham went into the early morning in the place which he had. And Abraham went early into the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord. Then he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain which he saw, and behold, the smoke of the land which went up like smoke of a furnace. It came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God had remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow. And then when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt, the descendants of Lot. Then Lot went up to Zor and dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zor, and he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. Now the firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come into us as a custom of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and he will lie with him, and we may preserve the lineage of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in to lay with her father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. It happened on the next day, and the firstborn said to the younger, "Indeed, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight also, and you go in and lie with him, and we may preserve the lineage of our father." Then they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both daughters of Lot were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son and named him Moab, and then he is the father of Moabites to this day. And the younger, she also bore a son and called him Benami. He is also the father of the people of Anaman to the city. And Abraham journeyed from there to the south and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur and stayed in Gerar. Now Abraham said to Sarah his wife, "She is my sister," and Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God said to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, "Indeed, you are a dead man because of a woman whom you have taken, and she is a man's wife." But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, "Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself said, 'He is my brother.' In integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this." And God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not let you touch her. Now, therefore, restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. If you do not restore her, no, you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." So Abimelech rose early in the morning, called all of his servants, and told all these things in their hearing, and men were very much afraid. And Abimelech and Abraham said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I offended you? How have I offended you, that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought to not be done." Then Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you have in view that you have done this thing?" And Abraham said, "Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will kill me on account of my wife. But indeed, she is truly my sister. She is my daughter of my father, and not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, 'This is your kindness, and I shall do, and you should do for me in every place where we go. Say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and a male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, 'See, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you.' Then Sarah said to him, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you, and before everybody.' Thus she was rebuked. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants. Then they bore children. For the Lord had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech, because Sarah, Abraham's wife. And the Lord visited Sarah as he said. The Lord did for Sarah as he spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called his name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, God has made me laugh, and all who will laugh with me, and all who hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. So the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the same day which Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, who she had borne Abraham scoffing. Therefore she said to Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir to my son, namely with Isaac. And the matter was very displeasing in Abraham's sight because of his son. But God said to Abraham, do not let it be displeasing in your sight because of the lad or because of your bondwoman. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice. For in Isaac your seed shall be called. Yet I will not make a nation of the son of a bondwoman, because he is your seed. Yet I will also make a nation of your son of the bondwoman, because he is your seed. So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water. Then, and putting it on her shoulder, he gave it and the boy to Hagar, and sent her away. Then she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. Then she went and sat down across from him at a distance of about a bow shot. And she said to herself, let me not see the death of the boy. So she sat opposite to him and lifted her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad. Then the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said to her, what ails you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him with your hand, and I will make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the skin with water and gave the lad a drink. So God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. He dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. We'll get to 22 today. And it became to pass at the time which Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me by God that you will not deal falsely with me, and with my offspring, or with my posterity. But that according to the kindness that I have done to you, you will do to me and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I will swear. Then Abraham rebuked Abimelech because of the well of water which Abimelech's servants had seized. Then Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, nor I had heard of it until today. So Abraham took the sheep and the oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. Then Abimelech said to Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, you will take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, and they will be my witnesses. I have dug this well. Therefore, he called the place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. So Abimelech rose with Phicol and the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of Philistines. I don't know. Then Abraham planted a Damascus tree in Beersheba, and there called the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham stayed in the land of Philistines many days. And we will end right there at Genesis 22. I think we got a little bit left. There's 50. So we're getting closer, and pretty soon we'll be done here. We'll be done with Genesis soon. And then we'll move on to Exodus. But yeah, we got pretty far. This is also the new Bible I got. Oh yeah. Really nice. I got this little bookmark too. Has a little thing on it. Oh, I just noticed that now. I've always put it this way. I didn't know that there was anything this way. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I hope everyone keeps enjoying it. I'm trying to make these like a little short, like 30 minutes at least. I'm trying to keep it there. Last time I went a little bit over that. I'm trying to keep it kind of down, so no one feels like, oh, I've been watching this so long or whatever. It helps us continue this journey in a shorter way and a longer way. And sometimes it needs to be a little shorter or whatever. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good rest of their week. Look out for next Sunday. Keep the little bell notification on if you want. No pressure. Feel free to subscribe, comment. I'll try and answer questions, and yeah. I hope everyone has a blessed week. Can't wait to see you next week. Bye.